Okay, now this would actually come out to a negative number, but since it said find the magnitude of the horizontal and vertical components, magnitude is just strictly a number. It does not have a sign with it. So even though this number will come out to a negative, we're just going to write down what the number is, since it's looking for the magnitude. So y would be v, the magnitude of v times sine of theta. So that would be 8.3 times sine of 121.3. And this would be 7.1. So this is the horizontal component, and this is the vertical component. Okay, then let's look at something called the dot product. Now this is when you take two different vectors, and what you're going to have is it's going to be A times C, then plus B times D. So you're multiplying the first components, multiplying the second components, and then adding that. So that would be the dot product of two vectors. If we were trying to find the smallest positive angle, so I'm going to add that right here, the smallest positive angle between two vectors, then we would use this formula right here, which includes the dot product. Or we could write it as V dot U divided by the magnitude of V times the magnitude of U. Okay, now if we look at this one, it just says find the dot product between these two vectors. So V dot U. So I'm going to multiply the components, the first components from each one of them, put an addition sign between them, and then multiply the second components from each of them. So this is going to be negative 15 plus 48, so 48 minus 15, or 33. Now notice when you use the dot product, this is not going to give you back a vector. It's always going to give you back a scalar number. Okay, so our scalar number for this one would be 33. Okay, and then let's find the smallest positive angle between these two vectors. So since I'm trying to find the smallest positive angle between two vectors, that means I'm going to be using this formula right here. Okay, or this one, either one, they're the same. Okay, so cosine of theta is equal to V dot U divided by the absolute value of V, or the magnitude of V, times the magnitude of U. Now most students forget this part right here, putting cosine of theta. Sometimes they just put theta. You have got to put cosine of theta in order for this to work. Okay, so this is going to be cosine theta is equal to, all right, I'm going to use the dot product, so I'm going to multiply the first components together. So negative 3 and 4, put an addition sign between them, then multiply the second components together. And then for the bottom, square root, if I'm looking at V, I'm going to use negative 3 squared plus 2 squared. That's for V. And then do the same thing for U. 4 squared plus 5 squared. Okay. So then cosine of theta would be equal to negative 12 plus 10 divided by, okay, well this is the square root of 9 plus 4 times the square root of 16 plus 25. So cosine of theta, that's going to be negative 2 divided by the square root of 13 times the square root of 41. Okay, now I'm not looking for cosine of theta, I'm looking for theta. I'm just looking for an angle. So theta is equal to the inverse cosine of -2 divided by the square root of 13 times the square root of 41. So if you enter that into your calculator, and we're going to look at this in degrees, so make sure your calculator is in degrees. What you should get is 94.97 degrees. So this angle right here is the smallest positive angle between vector v and vector u. And that is the end of this section.